So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome and welcome back here at BSN Network. Welcome back here at BSN Network. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. It is Tuesday, May 11th, or I think it's the 12th. So today is the Tuesday, May 12th. Like I said, I'm not good with my days. I'm not. My days of the week I'm okay with. It's just the days of the month I can't nail down ever. I'm never good at the days of the month. But yes, today is Tuesday, May 12th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. Hopefully everybody had a good good rest of the day yesterday, and having a good day so far today. There's a lot of news we got to get talking to. I said yesterday on my podcast that today, for tomorrow's podcast meeting today, I'm going to be talking about the MLB. There was some news came out that the MLB is planning to come back in July. There's a whole list of things that they approved on. So pretty much there's a whole thing like 12 things that they approved on that I'm going to tell you about, how they're going to impact the game and things like that. So we got the MLB plan. I also said yesterday I got the top underrated MLB players in the MLB. Slash Gio Urshela. I want to talk about him a little bit because I really believe he's very underrated, although he kind of came along last season, but still. And then we got AFC East, the biggest questions going into the season. I'll tell you what, out of all the divisions, AFC East, the division with the Jets, Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, I'm not just saying that because I'm a Jets fan, there really are some big, looming questions out there that might get answered before the season, or who knows. There's one big one, and I have slash Jamal Adams. I talked about this a week ago or 2 weeks ago on my podcast about the Jets possibly getting rid of Jamal Adams. That's one of the big questions, so I'll talk about all that later on in the show, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and yesterday was 51 minutes, so we got to get to it because there's a ton of stuff to talk about today, so let's get into it. So to start off, we're going to be talking about the MLB plan, and the MLB, the owners and everything, they all met yesterday, and they all talked about a plan to bring, obviously, with the virus and everything, to bring MLB back and to get MLB back up and going. So the plan had a lot of stuff in it. Had a lot of stuff in it. Meaning there's a lot of things that are going to change the game. There's the roster changes. There's a different playoff format. There's more teams in the playoffs. Obviously less games because you can't fit in 62 games if you're going to start in July. You just can't do that. Spring training will start off later on. We'll start in June. That's the whole thing. That's what their whole plan is. Today, MLB, obviously the whole MLB, Rob Manfred, everybody up in the front office of the MLB, are meeting with the MLBPA, the Major League Baseball Players Association. This is really going to be the point where after today, you're going to find out. We're more than likely they're going to find out if we're going to get baseball or if we're going to have to wait till 2021. Obviously, it's easy as a fan to go ahead and say, hey, we want baseball back. But, I would imagine every baseball fan out there wants baseball back. Am I right? I think any sports fan out there, even if you're not a fan of baseball, is going to probably want to watch baseball because it's going to be the only thing on. By the way, I did watch KBO this morning. A good game between the KT Wiz, I think their name was, and the NC Dinos. Watch that every morning and stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of people want baseball back. But as a player, you might not want that. And you might think, how come? Why? This is their job. Of course they're going to want to go back and play baseball. Well, you got to realize, some of these players, they have families. They have wives and kids and everything. They have all of that. They don't want to, all of a sudden, they get sick, and then they get their family sick, and then all of a sudden, it's more than just, now all of a sudden, it's life-threatening instead of just playing a sport of baseball, right? And that's the thing. Of course, health comes first. That's the whole thing. And that's what the MLB wants to make clear to these players. Yeah, fans want it back. Yeah, we all, the easy route is, play without fans, everything will be good. Yeah, but, everything else going on. What happens if a player or another player picks? You know what's going to happen, and that's what they're saying about the Korea Baseball League. Is they're this week and last week are the first 2 weeks of it, so they're easing into things. But you'll really get to see 2-3 weeks from now, if everything goes well, you'll start to see, okay, okay, this plan has worked. But you know what's going to happen. If somebody in the MLB, and they start up against somebody in the MLB, says, or as somebody in MLB says, oh, our team, or one of our players has corona, or has the virus. And all of a sudden, now whoever he's been in contact to will have it, and all of a sudden, boop, 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 connect all the dots. Instead of one player having it, 15, 20 have it, and you got to start back from phase one, square one, which is stopping the season. And that's the whole thing. Buses. And that's why they said they want to keep, like buses, plane rides, everything like that to get around. You're all in that confined area. There's more than just baseball here. And I was listening to this morning, Jeff Passan on KBO. He was on this morning. He said too, like, it's not just the players it's not just player, coach that they're in contact with. They're in contact with the people at the hotels. They're in contact with the plane people. They're in contact with the bus drivers. They're in contact with all the equipment managers who knows where they've been. They're in contact if they go out to the store. They're in contact with all those people. It's crazy. And that's what's so bad about this virus is, like, there's just, like you could be, like, that's also bad. Like, there's I don't know I forget what it's called, but you might not have the symptoms, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm fine, I don't have any symptoms, and all of a sudden you have it, and now you spread it to somebody else. They end up showing symptoms, and they have no clue who got it, who they got it from, and then all of a sudden you're in a panic mode, and now that's where you start back from phase one. So that's why, yes, as fans, it's easier said than done. Oh, play without fans, and I'll say it myself. I've been saying this all along. Just play without fans will be fine. It's the most socially distant sport out of all of them. I mean, you could say, oh, golf is, but I'm talking about, like a sports I watch. I don't watch golf. Sports I watch is the most socially distant sport. I watch 4 big sports. I watch baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. That's what I watch. I don't really watch golf. I don't watch tennis. I don't watch UFC. I don't watch cricket because I just don't. I don't watch. There's a ton of other sports I don't watch. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like, once one player gets it, it's going to be a problem. And that's why they're really going to go over with the Players Association. And here's the whole thing. Do the players really want to have 1 year out of their careers taken away? Right? Guys, this is millions. The players are obviously players want the money, right? And they're going to have to maybe take pay cuts because of the shortened season and everything. I don't like to get into that stuff because out of everything that I know with sports, I am not good with contracts. Like, I'm not good with money. I'm not good, oh, this guy's going to get this amount of money, this guy's going to get this amount of money. I'm not good with that stuff. One thing I will say, out of all my sports knowledge, out of everything I talk about, I'm not going to probably talk about today on my show just because on the podcast, I'm not good with the money side of things. Like, they got to take this pay cut, this, and this. I'm not good with that. I'm not good, like, sports betting and everything. I'm not. Over-unders I can do. The 5.5 point favorites, all that I can do. I just can't do, like, the part where, like even the players' contracts sometimes, they confuse me a little bit. It's, like, I can read simple contracts. So this guy's going to get $15 million, he's going to get this amount of guarantee money, but when it gets into the logistics, oh, he plays this game, blah, 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 this, and this. Like, that's really what the players are. I mean, it's understandable, yeah, but, they want money. This is why they're playing the sport, is because they're getting paid, and that's the whole thing, and they want to get the right amount of money. And that's also a problem, because your players might not have the right amount of money, and all of a sudden they don't want to play, and now you don't have a season. You can't play without the players. So if the players don't want to do it, there's a couple players that came out there and said, I would love to play baseball right now, and there's a couple that said, no, we have to stay home, stay safe, and, just follow the rules and everything, and that's kind of what it is. So, for example, I know about a week or two ago, Adam Wainwright, I think it was, or no, I think it was. He came out, or Matt Carpenter. I think it might have been Matt Carpenter. I don't know, but he came out and said, "Oh, let's get baseball go back up again." He said, "It's tough if fans can't come to the stadium, but hey, if that means that if the only way we're playing baseball is without fans, let's do it. Let's get back onto the baseball field." And then Clayton Kershaw came out and said we got to stay home and stuff. We got to stay safe, because, players have families and everything. And it almost seemed like more players agreed with Clayton Kershaw than I think it was Matt Carpenter. I think most players agree with Clayton Kershaw, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100%, but I think most players agreed. I hope that baseball gets back. That I'm just gonna tell you right now. I hope baseball comes back. Obviously, I'm a huge baseball fan. I love the Yankees. I play baseball myself. My season's not even back up right now, but I just hope baseball comes back. It's very boring. And I think obviously the Korea players. I mean, you're talking 20 less teams though. I mean, you're talking 10 Korea teams. I think there is. You're talking 20 less teams, right? And that's my whole thing. Is it was a little bit of a difference. You got Korea, who's 10 less teams, 20 less teams. So put that math. How many players are on a team? That's probably 200 less players in the league. You got that you have to think about. That's just 20 less organizations you have to think about. So, it might be a little harder to come back to MLB baseball than Korea, because I think Korea is a much smaller leagues. It's a much smaller league. It's not, 30 teams. It's not traveling around the country. They showed a map of all the Korea teams. They showed a map. They're all in the vicinity. I think the farthest drive, they all take a bus. They don't take planes to each other. I think the farthest trip is 2 hours. I think the farthest place is 2 hours. I think there was one team at the bottom. I don't know what it is. I know, but I mean, for example, the Doosan Bears and Samsung Lions, I think, no. LG Twins, I think, they play at the same stadium. So they don't have to, if they're away game, it's almost like the Jets and the Giants. They take their own, they go their own ways. And that's the thing, it's not like the Yankees, for example, traveling all the way out to Seattle or vice versa. Seattle traveling to the Yankees, or, the Miami Marlins, down at the bottom, they got to go all the way up to the left side of the United States. That's why I'm going to go into some of the things that the MLB owners approved of. So this is it. So let's go into the MLB approved owner, or what MLB owners approved. They approved 50-50 revenue split with the players and owners. So I'm assuming they're going to get about the same amount of money. They're going to kind of 50-50 it. They're not going to, not one player's going to get too much. They're all going to be in the same area, I think. 82-game season. So, like I said, they're shortening the season, and they're shortening the season, which definitely could make an impact on players in a good and a negative way. Actually, the only way to make a negative impact on a player or an organization is that they don't have enough games to make the playoffs. Through 82 games, you could be 500, and if you had 80 more games, you could go off there. So 82 games might be a little less, which means every game counts now. Once you get into the 50 games and you're close on that playoff, once you have 50 games, you only have 30 more games. You don't have 100 more games to go, right? It definitely might make this season a little bit more interesting with an 82 game schedule. 14 playoff teams. They extended it out to 14. There's a little bit more playoff teams. I'm not too sure why they did this. It really all depends. I don't know why they did it. Maybe it's because to give more teams a chance. Maybe it's because it's only 82 games, so you're giving kind of more teams a chance to make it, because 82 games is a lot less than 162. So it really all depends, though. Spring training in June, season starts early July. They said this about 3 weeks ago, how the baseball season could start up on July 4th. Who knows if that's going to happen? I don't know. But they said early July, so July 4th is ideally, obviously, probably very early. So that's the hope, is for them to get back into July, to play baseball in July. So spring training would start in June. Baseball would go into July 4th and probably end around September, somewhere around there, into the playoffs. Use of home stadiums in areas with government approval. So they're going to have how pretty much how you're going to work it is, let's just say a team, right? Let's just say, for example, I'm just going to use the Yankees because they're my favorite team. The Yankees. The government says no baseball. We can't play here. Then the Yankees are probably going to have to find, then use of home stadiums are probably going to have to be hold off. Let's just say the governor and says to the Yankees, no, we are not allowing you to play in your home stadium. Same with the Mets, because they're both in New York. no, we're not going to allow you to play into your home stadium. So then, I'm assuming they would probably use Florida, Arizona, or since the Yankees are on the East Coast, they would probably use Florida. I'm pretty sure that would maybe how it works. They didn't say, but I'm assuming if you can't use your home stadium, you're probably going to have to be, a home stadium would have to be in Florida or somewhere like that. I guess that would be the emergency places, and then teams would just come over and play against you there. Or you could share a stadium with another team. For example, let's just say the Marlins, right? The governor says, yes, you can play here. Yankees might share a stadium with the Marlins. That's just an option. That's just a possibility. Who knows? Geographic schedules. So, this is actually very interesting. It's kind of how it is predicted it, but all the AL East teams and the NL East teams will combine and be one division. AL Central, NL Central combined be one division. AL West, NL West will be combined be one division. So you're not traveling as an East Coast team to go to the West Coast or a West Coast team going to the East Coast. You're not traveling. You're not doing all that travel. That's the big thing with this whole thing. They're trying to limit the travel as best as they can because they don't want these players traveling all around the United States to play against teams, and they could be spreading it, right? They want to stay close to home, close to their home stadiums. Keep the travel very close. So, for example, Yankees will not be playing probably the Yankees won't be playing the San Francisco Giants, for example, this year, unless if I guess the World Series. But other than that, we're talking, I can't even say World Series right now. We don't even know if the season's going to get back up and running fully, but that would probably be it. So the Yankees would play the Mets. So this would be the division for the Yankees, I'm assuming, would be the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, the Rays. Or did I say all of them? I think I did. And then for the other division, it would be the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals, the Marlins. Right? One more. Am I missing one more? Yankees, Blue Jays, Orioles, Rays, Red Sox. Mets, Phillies, Marlins, Nationals. Well, what am I missing? Let me see. I'm missing one team. Oh, the Braves. Yeah, I forgot. So the Braves. So those would be the division. It would be the Yankees. If I can get this back up. If I can get my notes back up from the MLB owner thing. So it would be the Yankees. So this would be the combined division. Yankees. So this is the AL East. Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rays, Orioles. NL East. Mets, Phillies, Nationals, Marlins, Braves, 10-team division. Right? So it would be 10-team. 10 plus 10 plus 10 equals 30. So 30 teams, 10-team divisions each. Very interesting. That would be very interesting. So it would be the AL East, the NL East, AL Central, NL Central, AL West, NL West. So all those teams, because they can stay in close range, right? They're all going to be within the close range with each other. Universal designated hitter. So sorry NL fans who don't like the DH, but DH will be all around. So the DH will be in the AL and the NL. Usually the DH is in the AL, and usually the pitcher hits in the NL. So, for example, if you don't know what a DH is, it's a designated hitter. So instead of having everybody who plays the field hit, there's one designated hitter. So it pretty much takes the pitcher spot. So instead of the pitcher hitting a guy who doesn't play the field that game, he just hits. So it's DH. He only hits that game. Couple designated hitters you might know. David Ortiz, Big Papi, however you want to name him. He, at the end of his career, became mainly just a DH. They don't play the field, they only hit. That's what a DH is. So some fans, I know some, they root for an NL team because they don't like the DH. So now, are you going to still root for that NL team? Probably. But they root for the NL team because of the DH. I do know some people who do that. 30-man roster with a taxi squad. 30-man roster. So there's only going to be a 30-man roster, extended a little bit. And then you'll have And then you have, usually it's 25, and for the playoffs it's 40. I think, yeah. Usually with a taxi squad. Not too sure what a taxi squad stands for. I'm assuming they'll be able to bring up players whenever they want. So they can bring up players, bring this guy up, bring this guy up, bring this guy up. Like we said, this also, the ML, I'm assuming the minor league baseball would probably follow the MLB's footsteps. But who knows, that's also a little bit different there. Upwards of 50 players available. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be 50 players available on a team, and you'll be able to play those 50. I think that's how it's going to go. So that's pretty much what the MLB will look like. Like I said, as a Yankees fan, it is definitely very, very, very weird, because this is the Yankees' year, everybody says, to win the World Series. And it's kind of weird because, you know, it's a little weird. Because, like, if the Yankees win the World Series this year, it would feel the same, but you would be excited, but it just doesn't feel like we just conquered a regular, like, it just doesn't feel that way. Like, whoever wins the World Series, yeah, you won the World Series, right? I'm not downgrading the World Series. It's just going to feel a little weird. Like, oh, we won the World Series, but, like, this is the oddest MLB season I've ever been alive to see. Like, I've never had this happen, right? I mean, a lot of people haven't. Like we all say, like, we're living through history right now. Like, there's never been an MLB... comment down in the comment section below if you think that there's another MLB season like this. I don't think there is. I just don't. So I was looking through yesterday, and I found through 80 games, I found all the team's records through all 82 games. And I'm going to tell you if they're going to change or if I think the team's going to kind of stay there. So this would have been the standings. Let's just say the season were to end last year at 80 games. Let's just say the virus was last year and it was only an 80-game season. This is what the standings would have looked like. AL East winner, the Yankees. AL Central winner, the Twins. AL West winner, the Astros. Wild Card 1, the Rays. Wild Card 2, the Indians. So those would have been the 5 teams that would have made the playoffs for that. And now we'll go to the NL. NL East winner, the Braves. NL Central winner, the Brewers. NL West winner, the Dodgers. Wild Card 1, the Phillies. Wild Card 2, the Nationals. Now, this is a little interesting because the Nationals still made the wild card last year, and they ended up winning the World Series, obviously. But you wonder, like, the Nationals were still kind of just getting out of that little funk they had in the beginning of the season. They were horrible in the beginning of the season, and you really got to go off of probably, like, the 120 games. That's really when the Nationals started to jolt up. They still made the wild card, but that was be it, and the Phillies ended up missing the wild card. It was actually the Brewers who filled the Philly spot in there. So these are the standings. So these would have been the NL East standings. The Braves at 51-36. The Phillies at 45-41. The Nationals at 44-41. The Mets at 39-48. And the Miami at dead last at 32-52. You know how I feel about Miami. I don't think they're a good team at all. They're going to finish in last. I think this year he'll finish. I think after 80 games this year will probably be the Nationals, the Braves, the Phillies, Mets, Miami. I do think the Phillies might actually make the playoffs this year, especially with them extending 14 games. I really could see the Nationals making did I say the World Series? I meant the Phillies making the playoffs. I did not mean that. I really believe with Joe Girardi, Didi, they got there. I really believe that team's gonna. Gabe Kapler, their old coach, he was eh. He was a little bit of a. He was eh. I think Joe Girardi is definitely the better coach there. So I have that being a division. NL Central, the Brewers at 46-41, the Cubs at 45-42. They actually, after that, they went downhill. After the 80 game, they were above 500 and then they went downhill. The Cardinals at 42-42, the Pittsburgh Pirates at 42-43, the Cincinnati Reds at 40-42. This last year, the NL Central was a very close division. Almost every team, I mean, the furthest team was 4.5 back. Unlike, let's just go look at the the NL East, you have Miami, who was at 17.5 back. Yeah, the NL Central, everybody had a chance in that division. It was almost considered a weak division because the first place team was only 46-41. NL West, you had the Dodgers at 59-22. You had the Rockies at 44-42. You have the Arizona Cardinals at 43 and 45. You have the San Diego Padres at 42 and 44. And you have the San Francisco Giants at 39 and 47. Let's go out into the AL now. So you have the AL West. You have the Houston Astros at 55 and 32. The Oakland A's at 48 and 40. The Texas Rangers at 46 and 40. The LA Angels at 44 and 43. Seattle Mariners at 38 and 52. Now let's look at the rest of the AL. AL East, the Yankees at 55 and 29. Tampa Bay Rays at 50 and 37. Boston Red Sox at 45 and 41. The Blue Jays at 33 and 54. Baltimore Orioles at 25 and 61. Sorry, Orioles fans, I don't think much is changing. You guys are going through a rebuild. It is what it is. I feel you. I've been a Yankees fan. We've gone through a rebuild a couple of times. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, Yankees are a very good franchise. I just mean, like, before 2017, we were we weren't that very good. We were finishing below 500. AL Central, Minnesota Twins at 54 and 31. Cleveland Indians at 47 and 38. Chicago White Sox at 41 and 42. Kansas City Royals at 29 and 58. And Detroit Tigers, who if I'm correct, they finished with the worst record last year in the MLB. Also, sorry Tigers fans, don't think that's going to change much this year either. 27 and 55. That is everything with the MLB. Comment down below if you think starting up the MLB is the right decision. If you think it is, comment down below. Because I think it is. Like I said, you know, a lot of sports fans, a lot of MLB fans want the MLB back. But it's really what the players think. Obviously the owners and everything, they all said, okay, we're good. Which could be an upside because you assume if they say they're good, their players might follow in the owner's footsteps, whatever team that might be. But definitely will be interesting. And tomorrow I probably have more on this if something else breaks out. I just want sports to be back. Like I said, I think we're all dreading what's happening right now. You know, it's tough. It's just boring. You know, there's like I said, that's the only thing I watch on TV is sports, and there's nothing on. I guess that's what's bad. I mean, at least there's the MJ documentary, but that's only once a Sunday, and after this Sunday, it's done. So it should be interesting, though, what happens with the MLB. I mean, like I said, you've heard a little bit from the NBA. Haven't heard anything from the NHL. I'm sorry, I don't know if the NHL is returning. You haven't heard anything from them. Like, literally anything. Like, at least the NBA said, okay, we might do... The NBA kind of said... At least the NBA is opening up facilities again. The NBA kind of said... like, that they might start, if they're going to start, they're going to start in the playoffs. Because they said the playoffs is a very heavy option. Like, that's probably what's going to happen. Like I said, the playoffs, though, I mean, of course, like, if the players voted on the playoffs, the players that aren't in the playoffs are going to vote no, and the players that are in the playoffs, so it's going to be an even thing. They should just start in the playoffs. So that's what we got for, the MLB plan. So now we're going to talk about the whole MLB underrated players. There's a lot of underrated players in the MLB, I will say. So there's a lot of MLB players that I think are quite underrated. So, got my notes here. If you can see it, I don't know if you can yet. Got my notes. And I'm going to give you my top 9 most underrated MLB players in the MLB right now. Stars that I think should be. Now, I found this off of MLB. I changed it up with my own way. I was looking through topics to talk about with MLB and stuff because I wanted another third topic. Because I'm pushing back one of the football things I want to talk about tomorrow. Because I've been talking a lot of football lately. There's just been a lot of news, and I wanted to continue kind of on the baseball route. So I switched this up. So I found a list of, they weren't in order. They were just a list of 9 MLB players. Like, they didn't put them in order. They just said, oh, here's 9 MLB players that are probably the most underrated. And I put them in order myself. There's a couple on this list that I believe definitely could be higher. The only reason I put them at lower is because some of them, they haven't they haven't proved, like, they're underrated, they're good, but they haven't proved anything huge yet. There's like, I mean, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's not like, and none of these players, like, it's, I don't know how to say it. I don't really know how to say it, but there's a couple players on here that haven't, like, proved any crazy things. That I could have put them higher if they have. But here we go. Let's start it off. So here we go. Number 9, I'm starting off with Mike Clevenger. Many of you might not know him, but this is exactly, I'm just going to give out a quick thing. You might not know these players, but that's exactly the whole point of underrated. Some of these players you don't even know, and I really believe are very good players that should be known more. So, this is my number 9. I say Mike Clevenger. I've seen this guy pitch a ton of times. He's pitched against the Yankees a ton of times. There's been a couple times he's pitched very good. There's been a couple times the Yankees have found his ways, hit off of him. Obviously, the Indians being in the playoffs, I've seen Mike Clevenger actually more than a lot. I'll tell you that for sure. I mean, during the playoffs and everything, I've seen him all the time. But I got Mike Clevenger here. He is. He's still very young. He's still very young. He's only he's very young. He made his debut May 18th, 2016. So this is 4th season that he's going into. So he's definitely still very young. He's only 29 years old. And I'm going to run through his stats. I'm going to give you, he's on the Indians. I'm going to give you why. I think the reason why he's underrated is because when Corey Kluber was there, and obviously when Trevor Bauer was there and everything like that on the Indians, obviously now they're not, but when Trevor Bauer and everything, he kind of overshadowed them. Like, they were the top 2 guys, and then you had Mike Clevenger, and nobody really talked about him. Like, he was kind of the lone, like, he was kind of the lone guy. Like, he was kind of the guy left out. He was very good. I believe I think Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber are better than him, but he's not far off. And it was kind of like, we have these 2 guys, and then the next 3 starters in our thing are Like, nobody really talked about him. Mike Clevenger, he was a very, very good player for them. He was playing so good, and nobody was talking about him because they just thought, think of 2 pitchers in that storyline. Corey Kluber and Trevor Bauer. Do you know who Mike Clevenger is? No, who's that? Like, he was very good. He's debated. You could debate that he was the best pitcher on that rotation. He's a very good player. 2019 stats, 21 games. He had a record of 13-4. I always say this. I really don't care about the win-loss record. I just think it's a kind of a broken stat. Like you could have like DeGrom last year when he won Cy Young, or I think it was the other year. His win-loss record was horrible. If anything, it was below 500, or it was like 1 or 2 games above 500. And it was because they had no offense. It was because their offense, pretty much a loss is, let's just say you're pitching a game and you have and DeGrom had money of these. He let up 1 run. Offense had nothing. He pitches into the 8th, finishes it, and then since the team get the loss, DeGrom will get the loss as well. But he pitches a stellar game. He'll pitch 9 strikeouts and let up only 1 run, but the offense can't do anything, so that doesn't help. And the Indians' offense is pretty good, but it's nothing special. ERA is 2.71. I say anything under 3 is good. Anything under 2 is unreal. I think average is probably 280, 290. A little bit below average is probably like a 3. Probably a little bit. Probably average is probably like 290, 280. Innings pitched 126, 169 strikeouts, and 1.06. 1.06 is his whip. MLB career stats. He's 97 games, 41-21 record. I'll tell you what. I don't go off of record, but I'll tell you what. 41-21. That's 20 games above 500, which means he can maintain leads. I don't really care about win-losses record, but still, that for that time being, it's actually pretty good. Show on the screen, it looks good. 3.20 ERA. I know I just said it's not great. It's not great in a season. For a guy in his career to have a 3.20 ERA, that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie, that's actually pretty good. 500.2 innings pitched, 563 strikeouts, 1.19 is whip, maintaining a good whip throughout his career. Like we always say, he hasn't played much, but that's what I got for him. Mike Clevenger at number 9. Number 8, Emilio Pagan at the Padres. He used to play for the Rays. You probably never heard of this guy. I've only heard of him from the Rays and stuff because he's pitched against the Yankees a couple times. Obviously, being in the same division, I've seen him a couple times against the Yankees. He's a good player. He's a very good player. I think he's I think what's so good about him is he's a hard thrower. He's a very hard throwing guy. He's got some nasty off speed stuff too. He can change it up, and that's what's so good about him. 2019 stats: 66 games, 4-2 his win-loss record, 2.31 ERA, which is very good, even better than Mike Clevenger. That's why I actually put him in. His stats are slightly better: 70 innings pitched, 96 strikeouts, 0.83 WHIP. Very good. MLB career starts: 155 games, 9-6 was his win-loss record, 3.26 ERA. A little worse than Clevenger, but still, it's only 0.6. It's not horrible. 182.1 innings pitched, 215 strikeouts, 0.98 WHIP. Anything under 1 for your career is actually very, very good. He's another youngster, though, Emilio Pagan. He has not been in the league very, very, very long. He's very, very young. Like I said, it says even on here, it says sinker and slider are nasty. He's a hard thrower, and he's got some good off-speed stuff. Number 7, I have Trevor Story. I don't know. I just like Trevor Story. To me, he's a good infielder. He's very good at defense. He's a very good hitter. He's an all-around, I think, quality good player, and he doesn't get the respect. Like I said, there's a couple players on that team. Charlie Blackmon, he's a very good player. I'm not putting him on my underrated list because he's a more known player. You probably know who Charlie Blackmon is. But he's on the Rockies. He's probably, at the moment, if not one of their best, maybe their best players. And then you had Nolan Arenado, who's now on the Braves, not with the Rockies anymore, but kind of you got overshadowed because when Trevor Story, he's still really good, but he had a couple really good seasons when Charlie Blackmon, Cargo, and DJ LeMahieu and Nolan Arenado were all on that team, and they were all being talked about, and Trevor Story was kind of left man out. And he's always has been. Nobody really talks about Trevor Story as being this guy. Oh, he's a very good player. He's this, he's that, he's that. Like, nobody's really talked about that as being a very good player and being a known guy. He's kind of been, like I said, the dark horse. He's kind of been that kind of guy that's just kind of out of the spotlight, but still putting up fantastic numbers. 2019 stats: 5.8, 88 at-bats, 294 average, that's very good, almost 300. 35 home runs, 85 RBIs, 23 stolen bases, .917 OPS. MLB career stats: 2,061 at-bats, 276 average, that's very good for a career. 123 home runs, 347 RBIs, 65 stolen bases, OPS of 878. He's still pretty young too. He's only in his 4th year. He's still very young, and that was the whole thing. Is he's very young. He's a rising star. I believe he could definitely possibly be the best player on that Rockies team. Just nobody really talks about him. He's very underrated. He's a very good defender. He's not just good at hitting. He's a very good defender. That infield that defense overall was unreal. With Blackmon, Arenado, and Trevor Story. Blackmon, I think, is right field. Arenado, obviously, at third. I think he's a 4-time Gold Glove winner. And you have Trevor Story, who's putting up good numbers at shortstop. Just nobody's talking about him. Number 6, I have Marcus Semien of the A's. Let me get it up. Marcus Semien, I've also seen this guy play a couple times as well. He's very fast. He's a very good player. Semien has a couple times with being in the A's. I've seen him play a couple times. Yankees have played against the A's a ton, so I've seen him play a good amount. Marcus Semien. I actually have 2 A's players on this list. He's also a shortstop, and I believe there's 2 infield players in the A's team that nobody really talks about. I'm not going to give you the other because I'm going to spoil who I think's the best. I've actually tied who I think's the most underrated player. But nobody talks about Marcus Semien. He's a very good player. He's like I said, he reminds me a lot of Trevor Story, and that's why it made me put Marcus Semien just a little bit up in front, just because the stats were I shouldn't say better. Just I think Semien's defense might be a little bit better. I think he might be a little faster. But Marcus Semien, honestly, I could put it as a tie if I really wanted to with him and Trevor Story. They remind me they're both good defenders. They're not huge home run hitters, but they're both good they can hit home runs. They can get on base. They got a good on base percentage and every that. So 2019 stats: 657 at bats, 285 was his average, 33 home runs, 92 RBIs. RBIs catch me. I really believe if you have a good RBI as a player, you are a solid player. RBIs are huge. I mean, that's how you get your runs. He had 92. Getting a 90 RBI season is a very good accomplishment. 10 stolen bases, 892 OPS. Career stats: 3,055 at bats, 256 average, 108 home runs, 357 RBIs, 62 stolen bases, and 752 OPS. He's been in the league for I think like 7 years now, but still. This is still kind of he's not crazy old, he's not crazy young, he's about in the middle, and I really believe Marcus Semien, if he got a little more attention, people would really realize how good this guy is. Number 5, Jeff McNeil. I never thought I would be giving a Mets player credit, but I've seen Jeff McNeil play a ton of times, obviously being on the Mets and everything, Yankees and all that, and I've seen him play. Jeff McNeil last season had a very, very, very good season. You can almost say you can almost say only behind Pete Alonso he was the best player on the Mets last year. Offensively, you're talking pitching, Jacob deGrom, but you're talking offensively, Pete Alonso and then probably Jeff McNeil. I think McNeil was I think Pete Alonso got the home runs and everything. McNeil was kind of that guy that got on base and everything, and that's why I think McNeil's underrated, because everybody talked about Pete Alonso. Everybody's like, oh, Pete Alonso, Pete Alonso, Pete Alonso. Don't get me wrong, the Polar Bear is very good. He's probably the best rookie last year. But then Jeff McNeil, you kind of got overshadowed from that. Nobody really was talking about Jeff McNeil. It was Pete Alonso and Jacob deGrom, the big names on that team last year. Everybody was talking about Pete Alonso and Jacob deGrom, which is understandable. Pete Alonso winning Rookie of the Year, I think he won the Rookie of the Year, and then you had obviously winning the Derby, and then you had deGrom winning the Cy Young, and deGrom having a quality season, and McNeil kind of being that lone guy left out. That's why I think he's very underrated, because he kind of got overshadowed by those guys. 2019 stats: 510 at bats, 318 average, 23 home runs, 75 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, OPS in 916. MLB career stats: 735 at bats, 321 as his average. Like I said, this guy's been in the league for 1 year, so 321 average is very good, but you can't go off of that. You got to go, because it's only 22nd year. 26 home runs, 94 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 896 OPS. He came in the league in 2018. Guess he hit 3 home runs, and then he had a home run 23, and now he has 26 home runs. So he had a quality season. He had a hit streak, I think, there for a while. But he's a very good player, and I don't give him too many Mets players credit, but there's 3 players on the Mets that I think are very good, that are the highlights of that team: deGrom, Alonso, and McNeil. It probably goes deGrom, then Alonso, then McNeil. And I mean, you could probably make the argument too, McNeil's better than Pete Alonso. I would probably shoot it down. I would probably say I would be on the side for Alonso being better than McNeil, but you can definitely make the argument that McNeil's a little bit better than Alonso. And you don't know, right? Pete Alonso could have an ass season, and McNeil can continue just hitting, doubles, singles. I don't know if he had any triples mixed in there, but, it all depends. So that's what I got for number 5. Number 4, Nick Anderson, Rays. I had Nick Anderson. I had him in front of Max Muncy, but just thinking now, I'm gonna put him behind. Nick Anderson he reminds me a lot of a Josh Hader, in a way that he's a hard throwing right-hander, a very hard throwing right-hander. He can come into games and really do quality for you, really play well for you. The reason why I don't have him at too high on my list is because his ERA concerns me a little bit. If his ERA was low, like in the 2s, I would probably put him in front of Muncy and maybe at number 2. He's a very good pitcher, but his ERA concerns me a little bit. 68 games, 5-4 was his win-loss, 3.32 ERA, 65 innings pitched, 110 strikeouts, 1.08 is WHIP. MLB career stats: 68 games, 5-4 win-loss, 3.32 ERA, 65 innings pitched, 110 strikeouts, 1.08 WHIP. He came into the league last year, and that's why I don't have him too high on my list, but that's also why I don't have him too low. Because he's in his first year in the league. First year in the league, it either could be very good or very bad, and he had a good season, sure enough. I'm actually just going to switch that really quickly right here. Okay, I switched that. So obviously I think Nick Anderson 4, Max Muncy now is 3. So next up, obviously I just said it, Max Muncy from the Dodgers. Max Muncy, you probably know him just because, Dodgers got far in the playoffs. They're a playoff team. Dodgers are a big name team to begin with in the MLB. But like with Cody Bellinger and everybody over there, Clayton Kershaw, everybody like that, Justin Turner, or I think that was his name, Justin Turner. I have to go, let me just go check. And all those players out there, he kind of got overshadowed with those as well. Nobody really was talking about the youngster in Max Muncy. You have Justin Turner, you have Cody Bellinger, you have Clayton Kershaw, all those big name players on the Dodgers, and nobody really was saying, Max Muncy. I think he could be removed from the most underrated players because I think he's probably one of the more known players in the league, or one of the more known underrated players in the league. Out of all the underrated players, he's probably the most known. I just think because the Dodgers being a big market, they are one of the bigger name teams in the MLB, always making the playoffs, being in the World Series. Max Muncy obviously being a good talent. It's not like he's kind of just up there, but he's a very good player, and I've seen him play a couple times. The Yankee series, and then obviously he went in the playoffs against the Nationals and all that. They're obviously in the playoffs, so if you watch the playoffs, you see him. 2019 stats, 487 at-bats, 251 average, 35 home runs, 98 RBIs, 4 stolen base, OPS of 889, 1,997 MLB career stats, 1,097 at-bats, 244 average, 75 home runs, 194 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, OPS of 866. Been in the league for a little bit now. But like I said, his average, this is another reason why I probably don't put him at 1. His average is a little concerning. 250 isn't horrible, but it's not great. It's more of like a power hitter average, and that's not horrible, but sometimes I like players that can just put the bat on the ball and just get hits and stuff like that. But he's definitely a power hitter, and that's why his average is a little lower. I mean, he put up 35 home runs and 98 RBIs. So definitely interesting. But that's what I got for number 3. Number 2, Ketel Marte, Diamondbacks, second baseman. To me, he has played, I think he played with the Pirates, I think, for a little bit. And they got rid of him, and now he's on the Diamondbacks. What makes me like Ketel Marte a lot is the fact that he is a good defender. He's a good center fielder. He can also put the bat on the ball. He's very fast too. 569 at bats, 329 average. That really got me going. I mean, he had an excellent season last year, and I think if you're talking beginning of the season last year, he probably wouldn't have been on the list. Last year, he really had a blowout year, and nobody was talking about it. He had a very good year, nobody was talking about it. 32 home runs, 92 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 981 OPS. MLB career stats, 1,968 at-bats, 282 average, 54 home runs, 219 RBIs, 38 stolen bases, 790 OPS. So now my number 1 player. I have a tied. I have Matt Chapman, third baseman for the Oakland A's, and I have Gio Urshela, New York Yankees. Now, you might be thinking, Gio Urshela, really? Yes, because yes, he came on last season, and he was really only good last season. He's been in the league for a little bit now, but the way he filled in for Miguel Andujar's shoes like that, the way he played last year was just, to me, very, very, very good. To me, I really, really thought Gio Urshela deserves this number 1. And I really do. I think Gio Urshela is a very good player. I think he's a very humble guy. He's kind of quiet. He's not too out there, outgoing and everything. He's a humble guy. He just goes out there and plays ball like they all do. He just goes out there and plays. and he puts the bat on the ball. He gets singles, doubles. He can hit home runs. He's not a crazy great power hitter. He can hit home runs. He can get RBIs. He can drive in. I think he had a ton of doubles last year. He had a lot of hits last year too. I mean, he's a more consistent hitter. You would need a guy to get you a hit. Ask Gio Urshela. And I think that's why I put him at number 1. Same with Max Chapman. The reason I put Matt Chapman, I meant to say Matt. The reason I put Matt Chapman is because of his defense. This guy made the home run derby last year, and he made the home run derby as the last seed. Everybody was like, "Oh, Matt Chapman's forget about it. He's not even. Forget about it. No, just forget about it. We are not going to. Matt Chapman's not going to win. Nobody gave Matt Chapman any respect in the home run derby. I will admit, I didn't predict him to win. I just can't see the last seed winning. But there's always that thing of with obviously. He got put in late because somebody got injured. I forget who, but he got put in late. Everybody was kind of like, "Oh, Matt Chapman's in. Who cares? They're gonna blow him out anyway." Like, it was kind of one of those things. And I think Matt Chapman's still a great player. He's very good at hitting, but I think his defense could even be better at times. I mean, his defense is very, very good, and I really believe if the A's were a better team, I think he could be more known. But that's just me. The A's aren't your household. The A's aren't the best team. The A's, we can all agree, they aren't the best team out there. But they're not the worst either. So that's what I got for the MLB underrated players. We got the CBS Sports put this thing out yesterday, and I was like, you know what, that's pretty good. So I looked at it, and I was like, I'm going to talk about this. So it's the top 4 for each team. The biggest questions going into the 2020 season for the AFC East. Biggest storylines, biggest questions going into the 2020 season for the AFC East. So, number 1, and I'm going to answer them. Number 1, Dolphins. Will Tua actually start? Yes, I do think so. I think he's healthy. From what they've all shown is that he's shown that he's healthy. He's shown that he's ready to play. He's shown that he can go out there, take hits and stuff. He's shown that. Obviously, he made those videos of himself, sent them to all the teams, saying, "I'm healthy. If you're gonna pick me, I am healthy. 100%. I am healthy. I am ready to come back and play." I do think he'll start. I do. I don't know if he'll start week 1, but I think he'll start during the season. I think at latest week 3. I can't see Fitzpatrick going anywhere longer. Because, like I said, this could... I know it might sound outrageous, but the Dolphins, in my opinion, could be a team that easily finishes second place this year. It really all depends. They could finish 7-9. It really all depends. They could. I have them going 6-10, I think, but I would not be surprised to see the Dolphins finish 7-9. They got a lot of good players in the draft. They got some good players in free agency. This is a team that I really believe in the next 2-3 years, if they get a couple things fixed, I really believe this team could be a playoff team. So yes, I do believe Tua will start. Number 2, Patriots. Can Jarrett Stidham become the next franchise QB? You know how I am with Jarrett Stidham. If we're talking 5 years from now, and I'm still sitting here talking about, if we're talking 5 years from now, or 2-3 years from now, and Jarrett Stidham's the highlight of the league, everybody's talking about Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham jerseys are flying through the roof. You can mark my word. No, I do not think Jarrett Stidham's the long-term answer. I really don't. You know I've said this all along. I just don't think Jarrett Stidham's the answer. I just don't. This is a guy who, in the game that they played against the Jets, he threw a pick 6, so obviously he's not perfect, but neither is anybody. Not that anybody is perfect, but nobody's perfect. But I just don't I just think the Patriots are overrating him a little bit. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's the guy. I just don't. You know how I am. If we're 2-3 years from now, we can go back to this podcast and if he's Pro Bowl, he's already led the Patriots to a Super Bowl. He's the next big thing. He's won MVP. If that's the case, 2-3 years from now, I don't think it will be. But you can say all you want, because I'll mark up to my word that, hey, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat I am. I don't think Jarrett Stidham's the guy. Number 3, can the Bills finally win the division? I said this Friday when they released the schedules. Yes, I do. I think they can win the division. I have the Bills going 10-6 or 11-5 this season. Let me check. 11-5. Yes, the Bills I think are going to win the division. I know it hasn't happened a lot, but I really believe the Bills can win the division and again this year make the playoffs. And finally, but not least, Jets. Will they trade Jamal Adams? No. C.J. Mosley said yesterday or 2 days ago, he said it would be a crazy move. I don't think the Jets are going to trade Jamal Adams. I think if they were going to trade him, they were going to trade him. They would have already traded him. I think Jamal Adams wants the money. I think he deserves it, but I don't know if the Jets really want to give a safety all that money. I think they would maybe rather spend it. Let's just say Darnold has another 2 breakout years here, and all of a sudden he's great. Maybe they'll want to spend it on Darnold. I think a lot of franchises would probably rather spend it on a quarterback than a safety. But by far, Adams is our best player on our team right now, defensively and offensively. You could make the argument that, as let's just say Bell's back to Bell, he probably might be the best player on the team. But at the moment, Jamal Adams is probably the best player on the Jets right now. I can't see them trading him. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think I'm going to go off of what I think would be right. I do not think the Jets should trade Jamal Adams. I don't. He's their best safety. He's their best defender, best player overall. I just can't see them trading Jamal Adams. I really don't think it would be a smart move. It could really destroy your secondary. That secondary might be actually pretty good this season. I'm going to talk about it in the next couple of days. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or another day, but I'm going to run through. The Jets came out with their projected schedule. I'm going to run through why I think these are good play. If I think this is a good starting lineup, or if I think this guy should be a backup, or whatever the case may be. I don't think the Jets should trade Jamal Adams, but that's just me. Because I really like Jamal, but obviously, I guess at the end of the day, if it's the smartest move, maybe, but I don't think the Jets should trade Jamal Adams. The Jets will not trade Jamal Adams. I hope they won't. I'm not going to say they won't. I shouldn't actually said that. I'm going to say I hope the Jets don't, because I would not be surprised if the Jets trade him. I'm going to say I hope they don't trade him. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think they will, but I wouldn't be surprised. Hope they don't, though. I really like Jamal Adams. Breaking news. I just got this 2 minutes ago. Breaking news report. New York Jets nearing deal with cornerback Ryan. The Jets have tried to fix their cornerback problem this offseason, and they reportedly expect to sign Logan Ryan. That would be huge. This is just in. I gotta end my pod. Jets close to making solid move late in free agency, nearing 1-year deal with cornerback Logan Ryan. Wow, that would be unreal. Logan Ryan is the guy that picked 6 Brady off for his final pass. Logan Ryan, by far, in my opinion, could be a top 10 corner in the NFL. He's not very known. He's probably another underrated player. Talking about underrated, but he's a very good player. By far, the Titans' best corner. Jets close to making a solid move late in free agency, nearing a 1-year deal with Logan Ryan. If I would have started my pod right now, definitely would have talked about that. But I gotta go. It's already a 58-minute pod. I'll tell you what, it's crazy. There's a ton of sports to talk about. But I gotta end it because an hour is long. So I gotta end it. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Logan Ryan. We'll talk about that news tomorrow. I promise. I'm just ending this pod as this is just in. After this pod, I'm gonna look on it. I'm gonna do some more research on it and see all the details and stuff, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. That is just in. 2 minutes ago that just came in. So hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.